What's happening in, Sherwin?
It's been a minute, Tori.
Hey.
We've been shared space together. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening in?
Oh, I'm just living my life.
Hey, the Pop Culture Report, what's happening out here in these pop culture streets?
Well, so if you guys have been alive for the past 24 hours, there's one thing you need to know that happened, okay? And it's so sad that it happened. It's because, if you guys haven't noticed, there was a helicopter crash, a Black Hawk helicopter that crashed into a American Airlines plane.
Right. I started my show out talking about that.
Yep, there were about like 60 people who passed away.
Man.
More than that, because it was 60 passengers, and you had 4 workers, and then you had 3 people who were part of the military on theirs as well.
Oh, that's very crazy.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, there was one person who had a lot to say when it came down to this plane crash, and they ain't even, they weren't even part of it. All right, and I consider myself to be somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. Mm-hmm. All right, I try to connect the dots from time to time and let y'all know what's really going down out here in these streets. All right, but, number 47 got everything to say about everybody in
Number 47.
Is that what we played at the top of the hour, DJ Brother Z, or is something else?
We'll probably play something else.
Okay.
Maybe you don't got this clip.
Okay, I'll play the clip.
It was so he mentioned it in it, but we didn't get to that part because he said it earlier in that clip.
Let's listen.
Well,
Hold on, I'm still pulling it up.
Yeah, Zach ain't got it up yet. It's all good, Zach. Take your time, my brother. Take your time. Mm-hmm. All right, but if y'all don't know, President Donald Trump goes on to blame DEI for the helicopter plane crash. Yeah, he blames DEI for the helicopters and the planes.
So he blamed white women.
White women, black people, gays.
He probably blamed the woke individuals.
Maybe, I don't know. He blamed it on immigration.
Oh, wow.
Maybe he can blame it on the migrants, because even with that being said, I didn't hit on this on Gem with Juice earlier this morning because, we got a morning show between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Tap into Gem with Juice each and every morning so you can get your drop of juice, wake up to something, or you can hit it in the morning. Anyway, with that being said, all right, Donald Trump goes on to try to find a way to put together this DEI idea and how it affects us. And I heard last night his White House press secretary, the beautiful Snow Bunny. You saw that Snow Bunny show?
It's a new press secretary. They already got one?
You saw her yet, bro?
Oh, yeah, I seen it.
What you think?
Who is that? I don't know.
Hey, I feel it. I feel
she
it.
hot?
Hey, she a beautiful white woman.
Who is hotter, the one for Joe Biden or the one for Trump? Who's hotter?
I'll give Trump some press White House.
Sure, who the hottest? I'm just asking.
I'll give it to her, but one thing that she went on to go say is that
I ain't seen it yet.
Somebody asked her, are you guys going about the right way when it comes down to figuring out if the immigrants over here are indeed criminals? Have they went on to go rape people, as you guys say, or sell drugs and be doing the killings? And what she went on to go say is actually anybody who's came into this country illegally is a criminal. So I don't care if you was Pablo and you worked for a taco space for the past 10 years and you're the nicest guy. If you came in here illegally, you're a criminal. But with that being said, like I said before, Trump goes on to allude to DEI being the reason for all of this happening right now, being the reasoning for the helicopter and plane crash with American Airlines. And Zach, you said we got the clip?
The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA's diversity push includes focus
on to allude to is the fact that, or not even the fact, but the idea that the people who are air traffic controllers just are uneducated. All right, he blames it on those folks. He's not blaming it on the person or the actually 3 military-trained flightsmen for the helicopter because they had to be in the military to fly the helicopter. He's not blaming it on them. He's not blaming it on the U.S. Army. He's blaming it on DEI and allegedly those American Airlines and whoever controlled the flights or whatever, he's blaming it on them, saying that they hired unqualified people. And I just can't get jiggy with that, man. How y'all feeling about this?
Well, all I'm saying is that when you talk about DEI, we got to understand that blacks were at the bottom of that outcome with DEI. So he must be talking about white women, Latinos, LGBTQ, everybody that came before us, because, like I said, when I hear DEI, I don't think black.
At all?
I only think a certain percentage of that affected us, which is very small. And that's according to the Department of Labor.
But as a black person, we are going to look at diversity, equity, and inclusion differently than white folks. So just like when they said stuff was woke related to us and our history and us being able to tell our stories as a part of an education curriculum. We don't want that woke stuff. We don't want black history to be a part of good old-fashioned, normal, regular American history. Got to understand from their perspective, DEI is a catch-all category for all minorities are unqualified. We're going to hire you, black people. We know you're not qualified, but we want to fit some kind of quota, even though quotas don't exist. But the problem with that I have with what he said about people with severe intellectual disabilities, being an air traffic controller is a technical trade.
Right.
No human being who has severe intellectual disabilities will get anywhere near controlling an airplane's flight. So you may have someone that might have like Down syndrome that they'll hire to like sweep the floor, but they are not air traffic controllers. So I want us moving forward, because we want to hear a lot of DEI stuff, and DEI is blamed for this. That's the catch-all category for anyone who is a minority that they think automatically by default we're unqualified to do anything. So that's discouragement from hiring us for anything.
And a lot of people was throwing DEI around, and so and I want white people to know that when they talk about DEI, they talking about your mama and your sisters and your aunties. Because those are the people that's at the top of that list.
I think that's
all I'm saying
about the image of DEI, though. Because
who put that image out there?
The stats could say that, but when you visualize, and it might not be you, T-Lo, but it could be other people who visualize DEI and they automatically see.
But where did they get that vision from?
I mean,
I'm just trying
to like how even with the immigration, the image of that is not the people, who's necessarily being. I mean, there are the people who are being deported right now, but not the other people who come here illegally who are not from like Mexico.
Well, it's a multiple group. It's multiple groups.
Yeah, but it's also
that are being deported.
Yeah, it's multiple groups that are being deported.
What do you think, Sherwin?
When you think about the scapegoat, when you think about the scapegoat of it, it's always been the Hispanics. Like they're the scapegoat when you think about deportation, and you're not thinking about the Asian community. You're not thinking about Ukrainians. You're literally thinking about Hispanics.
Yeah.
So
and I think they do that on purpose, because when you start looking into these ideas, it's not that narrow. It's a broader thing that's going on, but they'll narrow it to DEI to black, or to if it's a border issues to Hispanic.
But then when you think about the verbiage, like you just said,
Chinese people came over here.
Yeah, and honestly, they're coming over here to way more than the Hispanic community. I've said that many times before, and I got a whole nother rabbit hole for that. It might be a part of Chinese takeover. But
y'all ain't heard about Nan Ukrainian that came over here whose paperwork ain't been processed. You got whole towns on the East Coast that's nothing but Ukrainian refugees. There has not been a single ICE sighting in any of those towns. But in the same state, you got towns where you got a bunch of Mexican workers. And here's what's crazy. Oh, these immigrants coming over here, they're being lazy, getting welfare. Then why y'all apprehending them at work? But the Ukrainians and white Europeans, because you got white folks from all sorts of Southern Europe, Northern Europe, their paperwork hasn't been processed, right? Or they overstayed their visa. Technically, you're illegal. And we know who all those people are, but ain't not nan ICE agent going to get them. We know what it is. And DEI is a catch-all category for minorities. Because they think by default, minorities are unqualified to do anything because we take jobs from good, well-meaning white folks.
And I'll say this, when I talk about it, I always refer to a lot of that came into black communities in different states. A lot of the illegal ideas hit our communities, and we saw a lot of people saying, hey, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. And if somebody asked me, well, how does this affect our community? Well, if you're living in the suburbs, a lot of those people weren't dumped into or bused to those communities. So we had a direct reaction because we saw the benefits that were being put out there and what we were fighting for, and it didn't match up. So a lot of times when we get into conversation, we don't mind. We just wanted the equal opportunities to come our way. So I think when you saw the social media buzz about when it came from our side. We're saying, okay, how did these people come here, got all of these benefits? We can't even get these schools to do what we want to do. How is this happening without going on C-SPAN and seeing some kind of subcommittee? You know, when we talk about reparations, we got to go through all of these hoops and 2 years of study. But all of a sudden, certain people like the Ukrainians, like the Afghanistans, they came here, got dropped off, and you never heard another article about it.
But maybe it's also because of blanket statements like DEI. You know, again, for Donald Trump to go on and say DEI is the reason for the plane crash last night, and then saying that a lot of these people are uneducated.
Did he say it was the reason for the plane crash? Did he say that?
This is his reasoning. This is legitimately Donald Trump's reasoning. He went on to go say, somebody asked him, hey, isn't that kind of reckless for you to say without further investigation? He said, no, this is what I really believe. This is what I feel.
So do you think that...
Do we know who the pilot was yet?
All right.
A lot of information is still coming out.
Sherwin, I asked a question at the top of the hour, and I want you to give your opinion on this. When you talk about national air traffic and planes being in the air, many times it's not like 5 planes in the air at the same time.
Oh, it's 1,000.
You know, I'm talking about like going toward each other, like kind of the same way.
Oh, okay.
How could this happen?
In a close proximity to one another.
You know what I mean?
that?
Like, because when I think about plane crash, I'm thinking like the gas or something happened with the mechanicals and it crashes. This is like a collision with a U.S. military idea in a commercial idea. How did this happen?
Errors take place every now and again. Well, it doesn't happen very often, but it happens. Sometimes it's an accident. It's a miscommunication. A pilot wasn't paying attention. Even during military training exercises, we'll bury 2 or 3 veterans a year because they'll be training at Camp Lejeune to be in the Marines. And as they're learning to fly, helicopters or other, devices, sometimes Marines crash and they have accidents and mistakes. It actually happens. Anything that is piloted by a human being there can be a mishap and there can be.
Are they using more robotic ideas? Like, you know how they got GPS now?
I think
you think that they're using more auto ideas? Because we got cars that drive now by themselves, right?
We're going to find out, I'm sure, that both craft were being manually controlled, and it just probably wasn't an accident. What I don't want people to do, because everybody's kind of on edge right now because of what's going on with the administration, we want to look for conspiracies or, if it's computer controlled, the Iranians probably hacked into the
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like,
human beings screw up anything they possibly can. Anything we touch, I think it was just an accident. It was very tragic, and 64 people lost their lives.
Right.
I don't want to attribute it to
anything
nefarious.
You want to wait to make sure the investigation goes through.
Yeah, because people died. You know what I mean? They deserve to.
And the thing is, when I talk about these situations, first of all, I deal with a lot of tragedy, so I know when people get hurt, we got to, especially when it comes to the airplane ideas, what they have black boxes, right? Things that can calculate certain things.
Right? Data recorders, they'll have all that information. Now, the thing is, we want answers right now because everybody's so used to social media. You get your information immediately right away. Investigations actually take time. And I think if we allow the investigation to run its course, we will find out it probably just was an accident. But I do want to speak to reparations.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Whatever our idea of reparations is, and I'm sure we're going to bring it up again, who really deserves reparations and who is likely to get it before us, and I really believe this, if a white person did not get a chance to attend the college or university of their choice, or if they didn't get a job or didn't get a promotion because a black person did, then Donald Trump has said, he said it on video, then you deserve reparations. Not only do you deserve reparations, we're going to take it out of the endowment, out of the bank account of the college that you wanted to go to, or out of the employee benefit plan of the company where you didn't get your job or your promotion. Those reparations will likely be further than anything that's due to us because Trump has actually said it. And I believe them when they say that white people are losing out on jobs that they otherwise would get if black people weren't competitive.
And I think when we talk about reparations, a lot of people went off the radar when California had that committee go 2 years, got it on the table, and then the people had to protest because they said that the black Democrats over there stopped the process. And this was on the news. I played the article, and this is where I say one state, we hope to get one state to go through with it because, if you get something to go through in one place, we could probably replicate it in different spots.
No, we can do it locally. So there's a town in Illinois, I think Evanston, Illinois, because they said, okay, we had a history of discriminating against black people when it came to home ownership. So we're going to give black people down payments, forgivable loans if they want to become homeowners. So we can't look at reparations as something national. Individual cities have their own track records of discriminating against certain people. that's where the reparations will
So you think
take
that
place.
reparations can start on a local level before it hits like a certain space in the states, like a huge place like California?
And you got to look at it like broaden your understanding of reparations. So if there was some harm done to minority, let's say in Milwaukee, the city of Milwaukee can say, hey, you know what, there was some harm done to you in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Here is, you know, a low interest loan through the city of Milwaukee so you can become a homeowner. Grants that might be given to a minority contractor. Hey, the federal government used to overlook black, you know, businesses when it came to giving out federal contracts. Now we're going to make sure 25%, 30% of these federal contracts go to African Americans for the past where they weren't given these opportunities. That's a form of reparations too. Problem is they just don't call it reparations because white people get angry when they hear that R word. You just got to call. You got to
call it
grants.
repair.
I was gonna say that.
No, it's a minority grant.
More palatable.